Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel on the road again. Well, I'll tell you what, it is not 0 dark 30. Nope, I'm way the hell out here and God knows where. Well, in the deep south. You know, I know where I'm at. I know where I'm at in time. I know where I'm at in space. Folks, do you know where we're at in shtf? Well, first off, this show is all satire. And it's all, well, you know, Republican humor. So if you're not a Republican and you don't like satire and humor, then you better get the fuck out of here. And for all of you that choose to stay, let's get into it. We have World War III, folks. World War III. And this ain't your daddy's World War III. Right? This is something that nobody ever anticipated. Well, at least I didn't anticipate that we would be fighting with propaganda as a primary weapon. Now, always, folks, psychological warfare, propaganda, those are always secondary weapons. But now they're primary weapons. Russia is using them. America is using them. Europe is using them. The media uses it. Everyone is using it, including, folks, the mega rich cartels. They use it as well. And we are now parked in the middle of some kind of a freeway system. Not quite enough bandwidth, folks, to do a live stream. So that's why I'm doing a recorded stream. Anyways, this is not your daddy's and your granddad's warfare. It is World War III. But it has the potential to get to there any time, at any time. So what am I talking about in particular? Well, the Cold War antics between the United States and the communist Soviet Union, formerly known as Russia, and now again known as Russia. That was a whole different kind of war that was going on, the Cold War. There was always the threat of nuclear annihilation. So there was a lot of cat and mouse, back and forth, between, well, the nations. And the land war was primarily done by occupation and subversive techniques, infiltration, spy versus spy type stuff. But a large part of the war was in the air, in the form of reconnaissance, gathering information, also space, having space-based, shall we say, weapons, and then also surveillance and communications. It was, folks, the Cold War, a technological war that was started at a time when we didn't have much technology. But it truly was a technological war that advanced and advanced and advanced. As technology grew, the warfare grew. But a big part of the war was never really seen. And that's what we're talking about now. It was an unseen war. It was unheard. The battles were never broadcast. Nothing that was done ever made it to the nighttime news. It had to do with submarine warfare. The United States engaged in it every bit as much and successfully as the Soviets. Now, I've actually known, folks, someone who was in the Navy and in a submarine during the Cold War and played games such as sailing under in a submarine operating underneath a Soviet warship, directly underneath it. Anyways, those kind of games went on. That batfish stuff is what it was called. And it was quite a thing. Well, it's returning. It is back. The Soviets, when they became the Russians again, when the Union, the communist Soviets fell, they still had their nuclear submarines, their nuclear-powered submarines, their nuclear weapon submarines. They had their technological systems, and they're still there, folks. In fact, they've been improved. And the United States, since they've decided to engage openly in warfare with the Russians, they're now re-engaging their quiet, silent war against the West. The reports are continuing to come in, and I catch little headlines here and little headlines there that the Russian submarines are off our coasts. Right? They play their airplane games, they play their satellite games, but it's the submarines that are probably the most deadly. And the reason is that they can, or they do contain, enough missiles per submarine to basically take our country out entirely. I don't know how or where each of the missiles on the Russian submarines is, programmed to fly up and fly down and hit and destroy. But you can bet your ass they're designed to do the most damage. It just takes one submarine, folks, with what, 20, 30 warheads? They may even have MIRVs on them. So a single missile can take out a dozen targets, half a dozen targets. Targets meaning cities, folks, military bases. That's the world we're in. That's the world that Joe Biden took us to. That is the world, folks, that the World Economic Forum wants. They want us scared to death. They want us at their mercy. They want us under threat of war and annihilation unless we accept their form of the New Deal, which they're calling the Great Reset. I'm not for it at all, folks, and neither am I for nuclear war. I'm kind of a peace-loving guy, but here we are. This is the room we're now in. These people own our politicians all over Europe and in America. They own them. I mean, they don't call Joe Biden China Joe for no reason. It's because he's been compromised by them as well. Anyone with money can buy these politicians. So here we are. Here we are. And the Russians are not for it, folks. Now, some people think the Russians are just being used. They're part of the game. Well, I don't know for sure. How could I know? What I do know is that the Russian banking system isn't controlled by the Western banking system. What I do know is that the Russians aren't allowed to play with the SWIFT international banking system, basically the credit card system for paying debts. Nope, they were locked out. They were sanctioned. They're froze out, even though Europe and America needs Russia and needs Russia's resources, power, etc. Oh yeah, don't kid yourself, folks. This country is run off of nuclear energy. Without nuclear energy, this country flops in about a day. Where do they get that nuclear energy? They get it from Russian sources. So they need Russia. They can't cut them off altogether, but they want to, folks. We've got shit on our hands. Are you prepared for what could happen? Right. The thing with this silent submarine war, folks, the reason it's so dangerous is not only are they tipped with nuclear weapons, they're hypersonic nuclear weapons, meaning they don't take an hour to get to their target. They take about 5 minutes to get to their target. It's not enough time for anybody, anywhere. We are in big, big trouble with what these people have done to our country, what they're doing to our nation, the people, the traditions and culture. Everything is up for grabs. I went and got a haircut this morning, stopped on the way, got a haircut, and lo and behold, the people in the barber shop, they've had it with all the woke shit, but they're like, nothing we can do. What can you do? You can get ready. What can you do? Prep to action. That's what you should be doing. Because they're going to screw it up. It's going to happen. It's happened in little pieces here and little pieces there, but it's happening. I want you to be prepared so that you can help yourself and help others as much as possible. I don't operate from a position of fear. I operate from a position of awareness and readiness. that is where I'm at. I tell you, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Godspeed. We'll see if I do a live free for all Friday today. We'll see. Depends on whether or not I can get through the South without either getting in a wreck or being arrested. You guys be cool. I'll see you soon.